Welcome to This Commerce Life. We are an unscripted podcast dedicated to small businesses and entrepreneurs in the retail and consumer packaged goods space in Canada and the United States.
I am Phil Chang, co-host and co-founder.
And I'm Kenny Vanucci, co-host and co-founder of This Commerce Life.
Our love is the journey to retail, and our passion is sharing that with you every week.
I join you for dinner because I don't know if he's coming. And then he shows. Look at that. How are you?
Good. I was here since quarter to 10.
Oh, it didn't it didn't say it.
Yeah, so it just I sign in again. It says you can't join this call. It says no one has responded to your request to join the call. And then this was going on until after 10, and I thought, well, I'm gonna try signing again.
That's weird.
That's what I did.
That's weird.
Because we were on the call. We've been on since 7 too. I thought, yeah, whatever.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, here we go.
That's weird. Anyway, you're here.
Yes.
Yeah.
I'll close this other window then.
It's all good. It's all good.
Sounds good.
It is. It's great to see you again. How are you?
Good, Phil.
You still at the office?
Me? Oh no, no. We've got a little bit of an office here in the house.
Oh, okay. Jesus, that's my God, buddy. It's 10 o'clock, right?
So it's kind of funny because I had to do an organic inspection for this creamery when I started.
Yeah.
And they wanted me to video and show the little cubicle that we have for an office and to map it out. So it's only like, I don't know how big it is. 15 by 10 or something.
Okay. It's a decent size, right? But yeah, whatever, right?
Yeah. Little compared to probably everything else you've got.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, it is. Yeah.
Yeah. I have to tell you right off the get-go that the butter's
ridiculous. It's ridiculous.
One of my favorite things. So my daughter is starting at Laurier in the fall. So we're moving up there at the end of the month, and St Brigids is readily available in that Kitchener-Waterloo area. And so every time I'm up there, I bring a bar or two back. And now I've got friends, kind of like, hey, you going up there? And I'm like, go away. Like,
hey, there's not that much. One limited supply. Who has it, everybody? Pull it down. We need stuff in the West. Never mind you guys.
No, listen, you got La Grata. Like, that's your problem, right?
I get it.
I want to be able.
Yeah, I'm in Vancouver. I work with Dominic at La Grata.
Okay. Yes.
Yeah.
Very good.
Yeah. No, it's awesome. I mean, the butter is like just freaking off the charts, man. I don't know.
You've come to a threshold. So yeah, so it's a bit of a problem. Have you heard about that?
Yeah, I've heard that we're pretty much capped at what's available.
Yeah, we are.
And that's okay. And then you know what? And then it's a premium product. So if you have to pay a little more, I mean, you got to pay a little more.
Yeah, but
right?
we can't keep doing that. Like, we are raising our prices about 7% October 1st.
I don't know, man.
The idea is not to do gouging and stuff like that. Like that's not what
the butter's worth it though. First off, like, even if you go down that path, let's say you were a gouger, which we know you're not, but the butter is worth it. That's the problem with it, is that as much as it stings, it's that good. Like, it really is. The color is amazing. The taste is amazing. The texture is amazing. Like, it's just, I don't know. I mean, plus it is what it is. You'll tell us, everybody, in a moment, but your processes, your cows are distinct. It's a whole different world of yum.
It's different right at the farm here, right? The farm gate with the cows that we have, the terroir that we have, the process that we do at the farm. That's what really makes it different. It's not so much.
Let's get into it.
Yeah,
we should talk about it, because I think one of the things that, for sure, your normal Ontarian or your normal Canadian doesn't understand is, kind of this quota system and you know,
Yeah.
kind of all the things. Like I think you know, I'm not up to speed on this, but certainly hearing the little bits that I've heard already, you kind of go, yes, you can raise the price. I can tell you, someone who loves the butter, that if you raise the price, I wouldn't blink twice. I would buy it. But there is a limit to that as well.
There is
like
a cap.
At some point I go, it's really wonderful, but maybe I buy one less bar now, right? Because
Exactly.
it really is
Right.
too much, right? And so I
It's
can
like
hear that
buying-
that's what you're worried about too. And then you know, I've met you a couple of times at shows, but you seem like an honest, hardworking guy that just kind of goes, look, I want to make great shit that people want to eat, but you know, raising my prices because I'm capped at the other end, it's going to cause a problem even for your work ethic, right? I think it's kind of what I'm hearing as well.
100%. That's what it is.
Yeah. So let's get into this. So for the audience, we kind of like rolled into this as we always do, but we have Bill van Nes on, and you're going to hear from Bill. But Bill runs St Brigids Creamery, and like, you know, there's no paid endorsement here. There's nothing. There's literally nothing that comes from this. But Bill, like St Brigids Creamery, if you haven't had the butter, if
It's
you
amazing.
haven't heard me talk about it, it practically makes me, like, I am not joking, like it makes me drool when I think about it.
Yeah.
And then I always have a bar in my fridge, and you know, every time the daughter calls for me to make a delivery up to Kitchener Waterloo, I will be bringing. I'll be bringing back at least a couple of bars with me because it's easier to find there, right? So, but Bill van Nes, St Brigids Creamery, literally the best butter you'll ever taste. You should hunt it down and find it.
And that is not a plug,
website.
like an endorsement, like Phil. Honest to
Nah,
goodness,
we're not.
this stuff is
Nothing.
off.
It's really great. It's really great.
So good.
So what we normally do, Bill, is we'll kind of this is the bestest intro you're ever going to get. But after that, we'll shut up. We want to hear from you, who you are, what St. Brigids Creamery is. We listeners, you're hearing a little bit about something you probably don't understand a ton about. If you eat ice cream, if you eat cheese, if you drink milk of any kind in Ontario and in Canada, this affects you. You just don't know that it affects you. Most people have no idea. I would actually say probably 95% of Canadians who drink or consume some sort of dairy have no idea have no idea what's happening behind the scenes, right? So we'll probably touch on some of that too. So Bill, thank you for coming. Thank you for jumping in at 10 o'clock at night.
Thank you very much for the reminders.
Yeah.
that you put out.
We've done this once or twice, so
Yeah.
Yeah, not the first time around the block.
No.
Yeah. So the show's yours. The next 45 minutes, we're gonna ask you a bunch of questions, probably gush over the butter some more, but we'll be quiet and kind of hear your story.
Okay. I'm
All right.
Wherever you want to start, man. Just
Yeah,
from the beginning. Like, how'd you get into this? Like, why this?
Why butter?
Why this in general? Like, why farming?
Why
or why
farming like this? I used to farm conventionally with my brother. I grew up on a dairy farm. I farmed with my family. We had started organic land in the late 90s. And in the back of my mind, I didn't want to have just organic land. This land was like 5 miles away from the farm. I wanted to add cows. So about 14 years ago, I broke up with the farm with my brother. We split it, and I started with pasture-based Jersey cows. I couldn't actually get all organic Jersey cows when I started. I had to buy some cross animals, like Holstein Jersey cross, Hojo as we call them. And right away, I started feeding a lot of grass, a lot of pasture. I based my quota on pasture, meaning I had an exemption that I could ship more milk in the summertime when the grass was growing as opposed to the winter. So I always had processing on the mind as soon as I started this farm. A few years into it, we started with some cheese. Actually, I still have some. It's 8-year-old cheddar now. It's getting down in supply, but it's also very great. And then I was approached by an entrepreneur to. He was looking to make butter, and so I supplied him, and 2 other firms did as well, to make Jersey grass-fed butter. Unfortunately, that didn't work out well for him for various reasons, and the company went bankrupt after about 3 years. And then I saw an opening. I thought, well, why cannot we do this ourselves? And hence St Brigids Creamery was born. It was a little bit tough navigating how to get this done with supply management and with the Dairy Farmers of Ontario, but we came to in a way, we were kind of grandfathered with what was started with the previous company, so that worked out pretty well. And fast forward to right now, we're actually producing all the butter we can with the milk supply that we have. Mm-hmm. That's in 3 years, less than 3 years. We started in the fall of 2022.
Okay, so I've got a couple quick questions. I'm curious. One, if you can go back and even I don't understand what the pasture quota was. I've never heard that one. So that one I'm curious to know about. 1, 2.
Okay.
Is there a particular reason? Like him and I've done some reading because we had to do some writing. But why Jersey cows? Why not just those black and white milk cows? Or why not? What is so? I guess why this?
Yep, I get that. So it's not really pasture quota. It's what I would call. Before I started, there was precedent that other farms would produce milk seasonally.
Right.
And when I asked for this what we call a 90-day undercredit exemption, I would be the only one, but it had been done before. But I was coming to the DFO with processing in mind. I had a couple of processors that were supporting what I was doing. So that's how that started. As far as the Jersey goes, I really wanted something different. I grew up with Holsteins. I know what they're like. I didn't really know what Jerseys were like until I had them, but I did understand that they were a very good fit for an organic pasture system.
Okay.
Smaller body size, smaller hoof print, they won't do as much damage on the pastures. They have very good feet. They walk very well. They can walk farther distances. They're actually cold tolerant. They're actually heat tolerant. And I didn't know. I knew the milk was different, but I didn't know how different. Not only is the butter fat different, the protein is also very different. I didn't know that the Jersey cow could capture so much beta carotene and make the butter so yellow. That was a real eye-opener for me. I didn't know that Jersey milk was so easy to churn because the large fat globule, it's a very easy churning butter.
Okay.
I didn't know that before supply management, the Jersey was actually favored for cheese and butter. A lot of factories would order, would cater, they would have special Jersey products. And then when supply management came in the 60s, the common denominator was to move milk as efficiently as possible and to pay the farmer in liters. So Jersey's fell by the wayside.
It's because they just don't produce as much milk as a traditional
that's
cow.
how it started. And let's face it, most people like to have bragging rights, and you know, if Holsteins give more milk, and you like to say they give more milk, and it's really about bragging rights in a way. Jerseys actually give more milk components per body weight than Holstein. But the problem is they're smaller, they're more petite, they're more fine. They're more closely related to deer, really. If you really look at them, they're like fawn color. They've got lots of deer characteristics. They have that flight characteristic if they're more wild. But once they're tamed, then they're very, very approachable and very. Yeah, I sell a lot of cows for house cows. They're very much in demand for people wanting a cow at home. Then they're going to want a Jersey cow.
No, okay, there you go.
For a house cow.
For a house cow, house cat, house cow.
You're talking to a couple of city mouses, so
I get asked all the time.
Yeah.
So
kind of figure where I put the cow in
a few things, but not
really
that
know
much.
how that'd work.
Okay. I'm going to make sure my kids don't hear this. Otherwise, I'm going to wind up.
Otherwise, you'll be wanting a house cow.
Yeah, I 100% know that's going to happen. So,
that's you got good odds on that one. Good odds on that one.
Yeah, really good odds actually. So yeah. Okay, so you start down this path, and then because you're right, like kind of all the like Ontario education curriculum, you know, the black and white Holsteins is equivalized with milk, right? So you know, you see black and white, you think
that's a milk cow.
Yeah, it's a milk cow, right? But so is it hard to get, because it sounds like it's not easy to get Jersey cows here, right? They're not that common.
You can. Jerseys are not as much in demand still as I would think. In the US, the percentage Jersey has gone up by much larger margin than it has here in Canada. And they're not supply management, so that's one reason why. And a lot of the cheese plants, they want that Jersey milk, because if you're making cheese, you want to bring in components. You're not so much interested in bringing water into your plant.
You want the butter fat.
You want that butter fat and that protein.
Right.
That's where your yield comes in.
If it churns better, then you're also, you know, you're getting to that.
It's more efficient for butter, for sure it is.
You make a better. I guess maybe one thing before we get too deep into this too is when you talk the supply management, quotas, I'm assuming, right?
Yep.
So I don't know how many people, if you don't mind taking just a couple minutes.
Yeah.
I don't know how many people in the country realize, like, you can't. Correct me if I'm wrong. Like, you can't just go out and decide tomorrow morning you're going to start making milk. Correct?
That's right.
So maybe I don't think people really understand. Never mind the cheese quota import shit. I don't think people really understand the milk world.
Yep.
Do you mind, like, just a couple minutes? Just
I can touch on that. Basically, it started with the Milk Act, and the Milk Act encompasses only cow milk. It does not encompass sheep or goat or water buffalo or donkey or camel, whatever you want. It only covers cow milk. So that's the one that is only covered by supply management, by quotas. So the idea of quotas is that it guarantees the the farmer, the producer, a income that covers his cost of production.
Right.
Before supply management, it was an issue that it was actually quite competitive. I remember my dad telling me that he and my uncle Ben went down to Stacy's to try and get a milk contract. So before, the farmer had to go to the processor to get a contract, and if you didn't get a contract, you were actually SOL. So it created a lot of basically, if you can't sell your milk, you're kind of done. So it created a lot of problems. And so supply management came, and it was a good thing for a lot of years until people realized, until we started getting these niche, like organic, then they had to find a way to supply those niches. They couldn't just start up. They had to develop within supply management, which was a bit of a headache because I know one of the founders quite well, very personally. But it did happen. We do have organic milk, and now we have grass-fed milk, and now we have grass-fed organic Jersey A2 milk.
But this all is all part of the, like, let's say we're allowed to produce 100 million liters of milk. As I'm assuming that there's like a number.
Yep.
So within that number, like, all these new niches had to be, like, there was no incremental number growth, or they just say, listen.
So there is a provincial quota. So yes, you're right. We as a whole, the producers have to meet that provincial quota.
Okay.
Beyond that, when organic was short, then there was opportunity to produce more milk to fill that niche. There was opportunity. So it wasn't left like, well, we don't have the milk, we can't fill it. It was promoted to fill that market. So that's good. We need to fill unfilled markets. That is one of the main. That's a good thing about supply management, that there are means to fill these niche markets.
Okay.
Whether they be ethnic or specialty, there are means. Sometimes they have to be figured out.
Yeah, I guess I still don't really understand the whole. So
every farmer has a producer quota.
Yeah.
There's value to a producer quota. You used to be able to buy and sell. It was purely supply and demand, and so having that quota guaranteed you that income. And so if you wanted to milk more cows, you had to buy that quota. The quota is in kilograms of butter fat.
Okay.
So
okay. And is there a limit? Like, so is there a total aggregate? Like, we can
how much quota can you buy if you wanted to buy a quota? If it's even available
right now.
Can the province only produce 1 million kilos of butter fat or milk fat?
Yes, the quota is traded between producers.
Okay.
But now it's capped at a value per kilogram of butter fat. And because it's capped, the demand is very high. It's capped at a value that is actually less than the earning value of the quota now. So that means it's desirable.
Okay.
And so therefore there's very little of this quota on the market that a farmer can purchase.
So that would suggest that, so I can see the upside. The upside is, if you have the quota, if you have enough quota, it ensures that, the farmer can actually make some money out of this, right? Because farming is, we know this, right? We know this from kind of talking to other farmers, is that sometimes there's the market, supports everybody but the person who grows this stuff, right? So you're kind of like, this is wonderful, right? The people growing it can't make any money. But then I guess the flip side is also true, is that means if we know anything about our markets, it means that there are some, when you get enterprising enough and you've got enough capital, you can buy up more quota than, let's say, smaller guys that want to be able to get into this game and be able to do this for a living.
It depends where you are in Canada.
Okay.
Out west, it's still supply and demand. So, for example, that quota might sell for 45,000 a kilogram. We're capped in Ontario at 24,000 a kilogram. So a farm can't grow within very well. Very slow growth in Ontario.
Oh, well, I didn't know that.
Yeah. So now I get it. So if we fold that back for listeners, even to that initial conversation we started having in this, that is kind of the problem you're having, right? Is you've got a herd of Jersey cows. You're now producing a chunk of butter that, Kenny and Phil are eagerly, consuming, but you're kind of like in this tipping point where we're going, if I could only get another, X number of kilograms, that would help me size up or get to a critical mass. I'd be able to do it. But the problem is now you don't have quota. So either you go out and leverage some money so you can go figure out how to buy this highly sought after quota. Or
the only way to buy it now is through
another where
farm.
You are now, right? Yeah.
So at the end of the day, though,
if
you're allowed, let's say, 100,000 kilograms, I think people need to get this to understand. If you're allowed to make Bill's allowed 100,000 kilograms of butterfat. That's what Bill's allowed to do. When Bill gets to 100,000, Bill is that's it.
Yeah.
Bill can't produce anymore.
That's right.
Now, whether Bill has capacity or not, it's not the issue. That's it. It's capped. So so you could have enough land, enough cows. You could produce milk 365, maybe. I don't know if you can or can't, but let's say you could. You can't because you don't have the quota.
That's right.
That means we can't get enough of this butter.
That's right.
I don't like that.
No, neither do I.
That's a problem.
There will be solutions. I have to be patient. But that's the reality. It's not like I haven't suggested this before, but it's only when I'm in the position that I am now that hopefully they listen.
Well, because I'm trying to understand. So, like, we've all seen on the news, like we're dumping milk.
Yes.
We're not allowed to sell this milk, right? Because they've got it, but I guess that means they were over quota or something, and then so we're dumping milk. So one, that's wasteful. Two, if you're, I guess what I'm trying to understand is the limiting of an enterprise that has a market. It's viable. It's profitable. You can have people employed. Like there's really not. I don't see the negative in saying, listen, you know what, you seem like a nice guy, or dude, Bruce, you could probably use 5,000 more kilos, whatever.
There is no negative for the consumer and for the industry. The only negative there is, and I might be going out on a limb saying this.
Yeah, so careful.
I will be careful, but other producers might see this with the tone of, I'm not sure jealousy is the right word, but why does he get it and we don't? That might happen, but then again, well, it's a free world, and let's make some more product that people want.
But I guess that's the problem with it, right? Clearly it isn't. And I think that's why we get fundamentally upset or uptight with the system, in that I don't mind the system in that, to Phil's point prior, is no use having our farmers, whether they're dairy farmers or vegetable farmers or whatever farmers they are, the source of our food being the people that are struggling the most because they can't make ends meet, and yet the rest of the supply chain seems to function. There's no sense in that.
That's right.
There's no logic. So if a system is set up to protect you guys so that we get our milk, our breads, whatever it is, I'm all good with that. I think as Canadians, we're probably all good with that. Is what pisses us off is like when you have a product like yours. Like, for example, if you could produce, let's say your number is 100,000 and you could do 200,000, well, potentially you producing more, you have some efficiencies. We may be able to buy this butter a little less, potentially.
Potentially, because
or we would just have more butter on the shelf.
Just a minute. You did not just give Bill a price cut. So just
no,
guys trying to make some money. So like you just relax on that. We would sell it.
Bill's got a problem.
The price where it is. All right.
But Bill's got a big problem. Bill's got big demand.
Yeah.
For a justifiably priced product, but has limited supply. And in some ways, how do you curb? It's almost like you're doing things almost to curb demand, which is nonsensical too, right?
That's kind of ass backwards. I get.
Well, it's nonsensical, right? It's so stupid.
No.
Well, but I think we're also trying to. I think my perception, based on the explanation so far and kind of what I understand, is we're also trying to bend a market that has now gone. Like the plan was to try and make sure dairy farmers got a chance to be commercially viable. But we've got that so far the other way, that the cheap and cheerful versions of commercially viable are doing very, very well. Right. Like, so not to pick on, but all of the other like salted butters that you could buy at
the $5.99 a pound butter,
the $4.97 to $4.79 to $5.97 salted, labeled, unlabeled, whatever, kind of big brand names. Kind of go what they have gone. They've probably got far too much to the quota now, right? Because the demographic is starting to shift the other way, right? Like we're starting to see, for all intents purposes, an artisan brand in St. Brigids Creamery coming up with something amazing that, now the market's, the act has done too well, right? Because we can't, the consumer wants more of the other and we can't get it now, right? So now we're getting run of the mill.
But it's okay. Like I'm okay to be a leader, and I don't mind other people following suit to fulfill at least some semblance of something, anything that's an improvement over hard conventional butter.
Just boring everyday butter. Like, do better.
Do something better. Exactly. I'm all for it.
But I think that's sort of where we're going. You're all for it. But the guys who are making, and there's one family name. We won't acknowledge it, but there's one who does most of the butter and has got most of the quota. And at the end of the day, it's hard for you guys, any of you guys, if you got friends who want to start up, what are they going to do? Where do you go? Where are you going to find quota?
It's very difficult to start.
That's my point. You either got to know someone who has it.
We had to go into market at loss, because no processor would take us seriously.
Mm-hmm.
So we had to literally dump our skim or just feed it for cows and take a loss on it. So we did that for 4 or 5 months, and then we got in on another plant, and that paved the way for another plant, but it's not easy.
No.
Oh no.
But that's I guess that's what even Phil and I are saying is, they've got it. It's gotten so good, like the system worked for what it did, and now it's actually countered. It's getting to be an issue with milk transport and what to do with if the big plant shuts down. There used to be enough medium-sized plants and smaller plants they could easily balance it. Now that middle group is, a lot of it is gone. Yeah.
And so if a big plant shuts down, it's almost like hell to pay. It's not easy. It's
trouble for everybody. Yeah.
It's a shame. That
makes sense to me.
I encourage more from the ground up, more medium and small processors, 100%.
But again, to your point, you're saying you still got to get quota. So where do you get the quota? So you either have to know somebody's got it who's willing to sell it to you.
Yeah, the producer quota is different than the processing quota.
Oh,
but
okay.
it's still kind of the same issue.
Okay.
Yeah.
There's still X amount, and you got to know
Yeah.
the guy who has a small X amount that made. I mean, I remember in cheese quota, it was, like import cheese quota. Honestly, you'd befriend people who were literally on the shorter days in front than behind,
Yep.
because ultimately, if you could end up getting the quota.
Yep.
I mean, but it's such a funny thing, because if we would just, if more people knew, I think more people would probably lobby government a little different, say, listen, you don't have to blow it up so that it becomes a free-for-all and then the farmers can't make any money. That's bullshit. We're okay, we get that.
No. Yeah.
If the country's capable of absorbing another 100,000 kilos, then give it to people who've got a really cool story to tell. We want to do something in the local community. We want to do some small, not a big plant with big things, not all that shit. Something just maybe a little nichier, cooler. I don't know what that means, but gotta be a better way to do this, right?
100%. And that is coming with these all these new ethnic markets that we need to serve. So that is definitely on the go.
Okay.
Yeah, definitely.
So how do you it's gonna be weird, right? So is the other half of this, and sorry, we'll get back to St. Bridges, because I think that,
I know it's went way off, but
it's okay.
just
We did go off.
because I think the other part of that then is, we Canadians, we travel a lot, right? And so you go places like France, places like this, and you go, the stuff, right? Like, Kenny and the whole Parmigiano Reggiano and the, like all this stuff, but we don't make that stuff here. So we got to bring that stuff in, right? So now you have a limit on your quota, but you're competing now with not only the ginormous kind of like $4.99 butters out there, or cheeses, right? But like all that kind of like hard cheddar crap that we have, but also now you're competing with like all these imported cheeses that have different milk fat and butters, and it feels.
I don't feel that we're competing with European butters in our a little bit, but not much. Like that.
Okay.
I'm gonna butcher it, but I'm gonna try it anyways. The Beurre de Signy butter.
Okay.
It's expensive.
Yeah.
It's very, very expensive. Like it's like I think 3 or 4 times what we are. It's crazy. Wow. But it's good. And there are other French butters coming in. I can't speak to them because I don't really know them.
Yeah. That's okay.
But yeah,
I guess it is.
Okay. No. If that's not a thing, let's not make it a thing.
Then go back sort of the St. Brigids. I guess the thing is and I think the reason I think we had to digress, because I don't think when we were talking about it, we were saying you can't do any more, or we got to watch supply, right? And I think people sit back and think, like, what, did you run out of cows? Like, what happened?
Yeah.
You said you had a lot of cows.
Yeah,
like, people don't get it, that it's not how many cows you have, it's how much they're allowed to do.
Yeah.
And I think what it is, and this is why we were excited to have you on, because I think more than anything, because we actually truly like this product a lot, and we probably both hate more than anything, is that there's this artificial cap that inhibits you, in essence, from getting more of this wonderful product out there.
So said differently, Kenny, I'm concerned that after this podcast goes out, everyone starts buying St. Brigids butter, and I won't be able to get mine.
Well, you have control of when this podcast goes to the real world.
That's all I really worry.
So why don't you hold back on the podcast a little bit, until we buy?
No, come on. People need to know about, like, this jizz is so good. Like, it's so
we still anticipate on serving our direct to home clients. It takes a special client to order butter by the case to their home, but I do fear that that may keep going up as well, which is good, but not until we get more supply.
Well, that's just it, right?
Yeah, but yeah. we will work through it, but it's going to take some patience and time.
Yeah.
Like if this was all figured out before, I would have had a plan already to access more milk to get more butter. But
Right.
I tried that last year and it didn't work out too well. Like basically, I can't produce the milk and not get paid, right?
Yeah.
Obviously. So let me ask some, because but the butter, we can talk for 3 days on how much we love the butter. Is there any way for you to make more cheese? Because I can't wait for that to come in.
No, I'd love to.
Okay, why?
Well, like if we're already short in the butter,
Yeah.
I would love to make cheese. We have
Not the same quota though,
neighbor
right?
that's starting a artisan organic goat cheese factory this year.
That's cool.
I talked to him about it, and yes, that's a possibility. But again, like, how much do I want to steal away from the butter to make cheese? Like, I can make cheese, but what's got to give? Like, we need more producers making this milk. Is what we're going to need.
That's sort of what it feels like.
That's what's going to happen. But I'm very fussy on what goes into St. Brigids creamery butter. We have a very unique way of doing things, and I just can't take the next farmer down the road. It doesn't work that way. We have to protect our terroir and protect what we're doing,
right?
To make sure that the customer, our consumer, is not shorted, and we want to maintain our consumers' expectations on what the butter should be.
Yeah, you got it. The quality has to hold.
Yeah.
Otherwise, what's the point?
It's a complicated life you lead.
It really is, isn't it, Phil? Like it's
bizarre. Cheerful guy, but this is like
and we're stressing out.
It's like you got to have just the right number of cows. They need to be Jersey cows, and then you can.
I guess part of the problem is,
right?
I like a challenge.
Yeah,
I'm not gonna lie. I do like a challenge.
Apparently.
Wow. Okay. So you gotta. So how many cows do you have right now?
About 250.
250, and
it sounds like a lot, but in a way it's not. But we need a certain amount of cows to get any sort of economy of scale to make it work.
Yeah.
So we're fortunate that we actually had enough to make an economy of scale that could work with our price point.
Right.
If I was trying to sell it at the regular organic price, it wouldn't have worked. We had to have more to make it work.
Right.
Yeah, that makes sense. So when you started, as I imagine, like as most leaders do, when you started buying up Jersey cows and kind of getting into this thing, did you kind of get, your other, I don't know, do you have other dairy farmer friends? Like, do they kind of look at you funny and kind of go,
yeah, they do.
Like, what people wonder, like, what are you doing?
What are you doing, man? Like, what are you doing? Everybody's got black and white.
But the funny thing is, for a woman, the Jersey is so much more approachable, and they really appreciate it a lot more than a guy. I don't know. It just seems like that to me. Like the beautiful eyelashes and
Really?
So they're a pretty cow.
They're a very pretty cow. Absolutely. I think if dairy farmers of Ontario started putting nice Jersey cows with pretty eyelashes on tractor trailers going down the road instead of just black and white spots, I think we'd sell more milk.
You probably change the perception of milk.
100%. They're a beautiful cow.
Listen, I'm sold. I
like. Well, we're sold because we've had the product.
I'll say hello to a Jersey cow any day.
I'm told. I'm all in.
96% of the cows in Ontario are Holstein.
Yeah.
That gives you a perspective, right?
Yeah.
Well, and I believe that it was. I believe it was. I bet you it was as high as 30% before supply management in Jersey.
Really?
I wouldn't doubt it.
Huh.
Like, because of the economics kick in. Like if the Holsteins are producing that much more butter, fat, or milk, or whatever you want to call it. I mean, if they're a more efficient cow, I guess, because they can just produce more. I mean, I guess it makes sense, right?
For a fluid market, they are 100%. Like fluid
Well,
milk.
then
Yeah,
I guess that's the numbers dictate where it sort of goes.
that's right.
So with with some of this, like I imagine it's moving, but it's not quite making the same dent. But with all these kind of nut milks and things like that coming into the market, does that start to, is that enough of a factor to start changing the way, because
To put pressure on them to change it.
Yeah, because ultimately there's pressure there, right? As the market shifts, people start replacing milks, and then you've got
I
to find
believe
another taste, right?
the way I see it, those outside pressures from plant milks, what we should be doing in the dairy industry is looking, well, we have to offer more choices as well.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, you do.
Which in turn I think helps you in this,
100%.
because you are a leader in this category, and so I imagine it's got to be one of the first things to go, listen, like this guy, he's got these beautiful, beautiful eyelash cows over there, and he's selling the place out, right? Like he's on to something. We should go figure out what that is, right? And then all you got to do is try the butter one. Like seriously, you got to try the butter ones, and then sold, right? Like so. It does become a little bit more experiential and less, kind of economics of filling bellies, right? So, yeah.
At their local grocery store now, we have Miller's Organic Jersey milk. Miller's Jersey milk. It's not organic, but it's good milk. Everybody knows it's good milk. It sells very well. So yeah, we need more alternate breed milk.
Miller's Jersey milk. Okay.
Yeah, I guess it's always going to be the same. It's hard because the way the system is set up. You kind of need one of the big guys to stop being them, and take some of the production, like do something different, because they've got the capacity, they've got the power, they could do it. They've got the money to spend in marketing. You could make a different story, to your point, and
yeah, it's those big plants. They're so efficient, and to them, going through a lesser volume is actually really inefficient.
Yeah, totally.
They don't really like it.
No.
Mm-hmm. But yeah, like
I guess it's coming though.
We need more choices.
I guess it is coming slowly. I mean, I didn't know, like, quite honestly, before I got really into food years ago, when I was buying even at London or working more with Dominic in the warehouse, you don't really know what's available there, so maybe it's like, and I do see the trends, like we do seem to be trying to get closer to home, like you guys would be, like you're a creamery of the area. Yeah, you export out here in the West, but it's kind of that. So I think as the younger people, especially like Phil's kids, my kids, want to have cleaner, closer to home. It's the last 100, close 100 miles, whatever, all that stuff is. Maybe we'll finally get a plate to see these types of things grow.
It's not only local and get it close to home. It's knowing the farmer and knowing exactly where your food comes from.
I mean, it's important, right?
We have actually a very incredible advantage that we can say our butter is only single source. It only comes from my farm. Like that's
pretty
huge,
cool, right? Seriously,
it's huge.
I mean, the mill. You could practically tell which cows on what days probably did the milk of certain butters. I mean, I'm sure you guys got things all wired in, but that's pretty freaking cool.
Like we know exactly what day each lot coat of butter was when the milk was produced.
100%. I think it's awesome.
Yeah,
I love it.
I do too. Maybe we should do farming, Phil.
No,
I don't think so either.
No.
It's too complicated.
No, I'm a happy recipient of farming, and I'm happy to support them. But
yeah, me too.
I don't think you want me anywhere near a farm. Like it's just.
Do you grow anything?
Yeah, I've got tomatoes, and I've got a really lovely pear tree that I managed to not kill year after year. But I don't grow, cucumbers, tomatoes, like that kind of thing. Oh. I get a handful of strawberries a year.
That's what I do. I do vegetables. I like fresh stuff as well. I love supporting the farmer market if I can. I like buying stuff off the farms.
But I think I don't have any experience with livestock. I have a I have a 12-pound poodle. That's it. Like that's a couple of turtles. That's Bill.
No.
Like that's
You got
all
way more than I have. Nothing.
Yeah.
Some cities allow backyard chickens.
Vancouver.
Mississauga did before,
Yeah.
but then Mississauga repealed it. And so we kind of, in our neighborhood, there are a whole bunch of chickens still, and you kind of walk around going, I didn't hear it. Like, I didn't hear it.
Well, we have a Minnie's fan.
It's kind of like the chickens, though, the butter in a way, because we all know that if those chickens eat that grass, those yolks are very yellow.
Yeah.
Very orange even. And the same with our butter. Like our cows eat a lot of grass, and it's reflected in the butter.
Right. Well, you're just doing what they do. I mean, no cow ate shit that came out of a bag. I mean, that's what they ate. That was natural. That's what it's supposed to be. Right. I mean, okay, because we're going to plug it one more, because we'll all through this, is you got to see this, you guys. You got to go buy a brick of the butter. The color's amazing. The texture's amazing. The look is amazing. The taste is, I don't know. It's
very clean.
It's
the butter, since it's only from our farm and we do have winter and summer, the butter does change a little bit throughout the year.
Mm-hmm.
It's not consistent, like
that's okay though.
All milk put together, here you go. It's not like that.
But that's the beauty of it. That's what's great about it.
Maybe
people like the winter butter better than the summer butter. Who the hell knows?
I think I started buying your butter. Yeah, probably 8-9 months now, right? Probably January and onwards. And so I've been buying the butter, and it has changed through the summer. Like, so I've had a few bars here and there, and it's quite good. And we just we had on the weekend we had Ontario peaches and cream, corn on the cob, and I pulled out the last bits of the one bar that I've been protecting, right? So we put it, and it's just,
oh my gosh,
yeah.
It's mint. It's also really good.
Like I all I'm thinking about now is I gotta secure enough butter. So when I make shortbread at Christmas time, this stuff's gonna rock out. Like it's gonna be all the things I want to be able to do with this butter, right? So there's a few 100%. Things on my list. So yeah.
Very cool.
Anything you want to touch on? Like, are we going right till 11, or what's the plan?
Yeah. Let's go.
There's no plans. Whatever you want to do.
Yeah. We can go. What do you got there? What else?
Yeah, we never really mentioned that this all our cows are A2, so our butter is A2.
Yeah.
So A2 is a beta casein. A1
What's
is
A2 versus A1?
A1 is the prevalent Holstein gene.
Oh, okay.
Most Holsteins are A1. Jerseys are naturally more A2, but naturally they're about 2/3. But I basically made sure that I got all A2 genetics.
Okay.
So you're special on special.
That's, pardon me?
You're special on special. Like you already got a special cow, and then you got a special derivative of the special cow.
That's right.
Good for you.
So, but there is a difference, right? Because I remember reading about this, because the gist of the A1 to the A2 is that if you find that you can't eat or you can't consume dairy, or that butter doesn't sit well with you, if you were to go out and get some of this butter, the A2 butter, like the A2,
I thought that too, right?
You actually might be able to digest it a little bit better, and then it's quite good for you, right? Like,
oh yeah, it's very good.
Aside from making us very happy, right? So
yeah, which is good too.
Yeah. Happiness is good.
Happiness is good.
Yeah. No, that's cool. That's cool. I love it a lot. I didn't. Thank you for like letting us chew up some of this time on the dairy stuff, because I think that's important though. I think like Bill is like, if you're listening to this, like Bill is one of these cases. He's making this wonderful butter that has to stay, kind of a specialty. And you're, you like, often we see things in the market and go, oh, it's doing great. Oh, they're going to raise prices. And you kind of go, you assume that it's people being greedy because they realize they have something amazing, but you can kind of hear it. Bill said it right off the get-go, was like, I don't really want to go that route. I actually want to be able to commercialize this and be able to do this right, but I'm stuck because of, the way, we, really a milk act that has been around a very, very long time, and probably needs to be revised in some way so that, we can protect our dairy farmers, but also
open this up
and make some money, so
and let's get some really nice stuff on the market. Like let's get some stuff that we'd all appreciate even that much more.
Yeah, anybody that has tried butter in Europe or even South America, or going back to their childhood too, they see the difference right away.
Yeah,
like that brain goes back to where they once were, just like that.
Yeah.
And if they don't have that experience of what they could have had whenever, they still know that it's different, but they can't make that instant connection because they've never experienced it.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
But they know it's different.
Mm-hmm.
It's really neat to watch people at the trade show and get their get the visual. It's amazing.
Do you see anybody else besides us? I feel like when you're at the show and we figure out where you are,
that's it. Right? We just go back for more.
Stand in front of your booth and
we serve butter on a stick. we don't put it on any bread.
You don't need to.
Nothing.
Yeah.
Don't need to.
No.
Otherwise, you need to understand that this butter, you need to taste it on its own.
Yeah. And
to get the true appreciation of it.
I think if people heard that because it probably freaks them out, because you would never go into, the bright yellow package or, the sort of like golden yellow package and cut it and just take a scoop of it. This shit, man, you can go in and just take a dollop. It's so good. It's so different. Oh my God.
Oh man. Bill, thank you for doing this.
Thanks for staying up so late too. Appreciate it. Because
you ever see a baby get into the butter pot?
No.
If you have especially this butter, if you put it by a baby, it's gonna go eat it.
Seriously,
really,
absolutely, 100%. They intuitively know this is the stuff.
That's funny. They just see. It's innate. It's just buried into our systems.
It is. Our brain is wired for that. We just don't maybe know it, but it is absolutely wired for that.
Hey Phil, how close is Bill to your place?
I don't know. I'm just looking now because I'm trying to figure out.
Like, how far a drive is that?
Where are you?
Are you in Mississauga?
I'm in Mississauga. Yeah.
You have a sister there.
Yeah.
Yeah, down Winston Churchill and then Battleford.
Okay. Oh yeah. I'm the other end. I'm like for almost 427 in Burnthorpe area. So okay. I'm the other side of Saga. But,
I mean, I love your sister and I love Phil, but who cares? Where are you, Bill? I want to find you.
Brussels. Brussels.
Okay, that's
on a weekend. I can get to my sister's place quicker than I can get to London, Ontario.
Oh, so it's
a good day on a weekend.
How far is that, Phil?
Hey, I'm looking.
Good 100, wouldn't it? 110K.
Yeah, something like that.
Like an hour and a half.
Yeah, hour and a half will get you there in 90, a good day.
90 minutes. Yeah. We you know what where Kenny's going and I was already going is we've been doing some filming. I'm actually heading out to the to Kenny's place this Friday, and then we're gonna go film in the interior of BC. Yeah, so we've been doing some filming, and so we're kind of trying to do this. We're actually building. So we're doing this in Vancouver. We're going out to do an award ceremony in October in PEI. So we're probably going to do some filming out that way as well. And then, excuse me, Kenny's here for CHFA, and then he'll be back again in December for another award show at Queen's Park. So we're trying to figure out how we're working on. I can see it in his brain already, but we're both thinking about how we get some video footage of some nice Jersey cows and their nice long latches, and maybe some footage of Kenny trying to feed some Jersey cows, or
I would do that.
Keep them happy, or
do that.
No, you're very welcome. Well, we can work something out.
I'd love to.
So, tell me about this commerce life. Like to me, that means like buying and selling. It's kind of like a bit about money. So I get the conversation about quota. I get that.
Yeah.
And how that fits. So, how does this really work for your podcast?
So Kenny and I met like 7 years ago, right? Like we'd kind of know each other because of the industry, right? And I called on him a couple of times. So we got together in Vancouver, started talking, and then started just recording, right? So we had a great time talking to each other. And then, we started this podcast, and the podcast has morphed into real focus on small and medium-sized businesses, right? And Canadian ones, because we just think Canadian stories are wickedly cool. We as Canadians don't tell stories very well, and we're not proud or boastful sort of people, right? So when we do wicked things, we tend to just not talk about them. And so we've started doing that. We've been doing that for 7 years now. And I think what's really interesting to us is we started with what we know, right? So the two of us come from retail. We come from packaged goods, so we started in those places. We've fallen into, both of us are foodies, so we've fallen into food and beverage, and we've really loved this space. But along the way, we also realized that there are lots of things that, the pandemic was a big, like for lots of people, but I think for us, the realization was, holy shit, we don't do a lot locally, and then we also don't support locally the way that we should. And so that started something for us. So you're in this podcasting group because you're local, you're doing some wicked things that cross right into grocery and CPG and all those spaces. And so even helping our listeners understand, this is a nuance that, like it's not the same as making cookies, putting it in a package and being able to sell it. It's not the same as jam. No. It's not the same as coffee. Like there's very few other products on the market that have a quota system like this that you've got to worry about, right? So, and I don't think, so part of that is in here. And I think the other half, we've talked to, a whole bunch of farmers that are trying to, kind of like, whether it's like Farming Karma out in the Okanagan, where they're trying to make farming cool for the youth to figure out that this is a really cool place to work and you can actually make a living at this. Or you've got Kenny, who's the guy who's doing Wagyu beef in Alberta. We met this guy. He won an award at CHFA.
Oh my Lord.
And he is like a 4th or 5th generation farmer, but he's the only one that went to livestock. They all farmed agriculture. And then he went, nope, livestock, Wagyu beef. And, in the middle of Alberta, and everyone went, what are you doing? Right. And then his award-winning product is actually, nobody knows what to call it. It's not really beef jerky. It's a smoked or dried Wagyu beef bar that looks like, that's somewhat of a cross between like a breakfast bar or like
it's like a power bar, but made of Wagyu beef.
Yeah, so made of Wagyu beef.
Good. Like so good.
Yeah.
Tastes in the fat.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Yeah. So it's kind of like butter that way.
That's right. That's 100% right.
In the fat. So if you have got a really good fat, you're gonna
come on.
Yeah. So you know what I mean? Like, so that's how you fit in this, right? Is just a wickedly cool product.
Canadian. It's just cool.
You're a Canadian, you're growing, and you're doing a wicked thing that people need to know about, right? So we talk about that. And then I do think having people understand, because we have had we had another lady on who does like a high fat ice cream, and she was super frustrated because, again, making an ice cream and then bumping into all of the dairy stuff along the way really inhibited her ability to grow as well, right? So
I see.
So kind of lots of these things that I think our listeners, hopefully we're taking them on a bit of a journey, and they next time they go back into the grocery store to buy milk or butter or Canadian cheese, they start to look at it and go, hang on a second, like, okay, so I understand now why I only see maybe 2 brands of milk in there. Do you know what I mean? Like that's why, right? That's why I can't find all the other like kind of cool things, yeah. So that's us. That's kind of what we do. So, and then what we've been doing, this filming stuff, is us trying to break out from just podcasting. So we're starting to film and put stuff on YouTube. So you'll see some retailers on our YouTube channel that we've started touring stores, and that, again, just trying to bring that texture of like how wicked Canadians are and where they're doing some really cool things. Right. So yeah.
Sure.
So we'd love it. We'll what's that?
If we can make something work this fall, that'd be fine. Otherwise it'll be next spring, I guess.
Okay. Yeah.
We'll get out there sooner or later. Like sooner or later, we're coming out.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. That's
Sounds
awesome.
Great.
Thank you for doing this.
Thanks for doing this. Like seriously,
really
I
appreciate it.
appreciate it.
We really enjoyed it. Yeah.
This podcast went really well. I did one a month and a half ago when I was kind of tense, and I thought I just gonna lay back and relax.
Yeah. Tell the story, man. Like it's we hopefully, like, I mean, hopefully we're not that hard to talk to. We're pretty casual. Like, we don't want to make this into an uptight thing. I mean, I just like, hopefully what happens, people forget they're on a podcast and it just happens to be, it's like video phoning. You're just shooting the shit with some buddies, just telling a story. That's it.
Yeah.
I was thinking about having some wine before, but I didn't.
Oh, you could have, for sure.
You could have during if you wanted. We've done that.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah. We would. Yeah. The next time we'll have you back. We'll or when we're up there, we'll bring some. We're
gonna do some recording. We'll do some recording on site. I'd love to see this. I'd love to see the operation. Yeah. I just dying to see this.
Yeah, I'd love to have you. No, I'd love to have you.
No, I definitely want to do it.
Love it.
Okay, so we're not going to be at the CHFA. I'm thinking about walking the show.
Okay,
that's a possibility.
Yeah. We're doing the same.
Yeah, we just shut down. No sense going to trade shows and trying to get more customers when we reach capacity, basically.
Yeah.
It's so weird, right? Because it's so cool that you've done that, and so shitty that you've done that.
Yeah, exactly. But like I said,
it's awesome, but not good at all.
It's better than the other way. If we had
absolutely, we'll take this and run. But yeah, geez.
We'll get through it.
It's all good, man. You know what? We're going to help build a following. We're doing it even out here with Lagrota. We got a bunch of retailers on board, and we're actually surprised. I mean, I thought it would sell. I didn't think it'd sell as well as in my head what it's selling, because it's not inexpensive. It's you're committed, man. You're $12.95, $13.95 a half pound, but it's so blank good.
Yeah, and that's why people buy good cheese.
Exactly. Who cares? You want to enjoy it.
You enjoy it 100%. So people are not used to enjoying butter like this.
No, because we don't have butter like this. That's why.
Exactly. But once they get it,
You can
then
still
it's
use
okay.
the other stuff for your everyday stuff,
Exactly.
and then you keep this as the treat.
100%.
Oh no, this one you need
butter.
permission. Like it's tucked in the fridge. Like
Well,
you
it's
need permission to be
it's-
going after this
no.
cheese. Like you don't be eating this every day. Like
No.
this-
Well,
Oh,
you
can. I
can.
do.
oh no, I do, but not the children. Like
No, the children don't need to. When they get jobs and start making money, then they can.
yeah, they want to buy their own cheese. Listen, they want to come
Exactly.
buy their own St. Brigids. That's fine. But,
That's fine. Then do whatever you want. You can have it all day.
but I put this stuff in everything. Like we make mashed potatoes. I made garlic smashed potatoes the other day. This went in there. Oh, so fantastic. So
It's
fantastic.
a nice finishing. It's just such a great product.
What I do most with it is I fry steaks with it
Oh,
and I put it on top.
yeah.
Yeah. That's amazing.
I'm fucking
That's
hungry,
amazing.
man.
Wow, it makes me hungry. All right,
Bill,
Mr.
go to bed. That's
have
it.
Have a
Thank you
wonderful
so much
night.
for doing
Thank you
this
so
and
much.
late at night. Really appreciate it.
And then we'll reach out. We'll figure out when.
Okay.
We'll throw some
Yeah.
dates at you and figure out. What
We'll
works.
see.
Is there a lot of editing to do this? To do an editing here?
There'll be a little bit. Yeah, I'll cut some
Not
parts
much.
out here and there, but not a ton. Not a ton.
Not much.
No,
Yeah,
it's like easier this way when I'm not stuttering all over the darn place and stuff.
No, don't give it another thought.
Well,
Honestly,
don't even-
well,
yeah,
No, don't even
I
think
think it
about
went
it.
very well. Yeah, and I think the part, regardless of how choppy or anything it goes, people are so interested in the story. That's what we hear time and time again is people really love the story, right? So so I think you've got a great story. So I don't think anyone's.
We've had a lot of recordings where the recordings have been shitty. They've been choppy
or
pitchy.
or
Nobody cares.
internet, like all sorts.
Nobody cares.
Nobody cares.
People, I think more than anything, I think what we're finally getting to is that people are appreciating and seriously understanding. We have a lot of great stories in this country.
Yeah.
We just need to be more like our neighbors to the south, a little bit more, not a lot more, and talk about what we do and be proud of what we do and share it. And even this conversation now, I mean, I know we took a long time on quota, but there was a reason that I have for this sometimes is if you want to change things, everyday people need to understand it. And everyday people do know politicians, and people will say, hey, listen, if you want my vote,
do this thing about this milk
shit.
quota. Like
We need to update this thing. We want to have it, but we need an update.
Yeah.
And we need to allocate more quota to those who are producing more interesting dairy, not the pedestrian shit. That's already been taken care of. But allow more quota. Let's just give it to people. Nominal fee. I don't care what. Or just give it to them at the beginning and get them started. Let's go.
100%.
Right? So hopefully we get a few people listening like that even. Who knows?
Perfect. Good night. I'm going to go to bed.
Go to bed.
Good night.
Bill, thanks so much for doing it. Bill, hang on for a second. Bill, you go.
It was a pleasure.
Our pleasure. Thanks, man.
What a wonderful man. He makes such a great product.
What a
guys, like I'm not joking. I don't know who's listening because we're like an hour and 20 minutes into this. But if anyone is still listening,
oh my God, just try it.
Fucking rocks. Like
just try it. I think you just have to try it.
Yeah.
Then you know what? Get over the sticker shock is going to be there definitively, but get over it. Like just try it. It will be that special. You'll never imagine that you needed a special butter in your life. You need special butter in the fridge.
So, it's funny because when I said to Kathy, hey, I'm thinking about buying a case of this stuff, she definitely looked at me like I'm crazy because you can go on the website and buy a case. And then now that she's had it a bunch of times, she's like, yeah, maybe
you can almost
maybe next time.
Yeah.
Well, and then so what I've been doing is I've been quietly selling it to people that come over. So we've had a bunch of friends over who are foodies.
Yeah, give it
to them. And a couple of them are like, hey, so if you decide to go in on this, I might go. So I'm like, okay, great. So I got a case divided by 2. So I figure I can get to a divide by 4.
It's not that bad.
I'm in great shape.
Yeah, it's not that bad.
So that's what I've got 2 now. Because it's 25. So truthfully, if I got 5 would be perfect because then I could just divide by 5, right?
Yeah.
That would be ideal.
Well worth it, man.
Yeah.
It's well worth it.
Yeah. All right. That's it.
That's it.
Thanks for
I
listening.
doubt there's nobody left. It's just me and you.
Yeah.
But if anybody is listening, thanks for listening.
Yeah.
I don't think there's anybody left.